So last time we were at the point where we placed the capacitor, a compensation capacitor, in the two-stage amplifier. Can be seen in this page. So we just placed this compensation capacitor, and we said because of this addition of this capacitor, we are going to have a Miller effect, Cm, which is going to be 1 plus A2 times Cc, where A2 is going to be the gain of this stage, and that is basically GM6 times parallel combination of RO6 and RO7 multiplied by the compensation capacitor. And we can approximate the relation for relaxation as Cm is equal to Gm6 times RO6 in parallel with RO7 times Cc. And we just thought, okay, this we saw the Miller effect, how it's going to help us the enhancing the capacitor. And this is going to be very much powerful in terms of making the non-dominant pole as a dominant pole, and also increasing the phase margin. And we last time we just saw, okay, pictorially what's going to happen, that now the previously omega p1, which was non-dominant pole previously, shifted and it become a dominant pole. We're going to see how, but at this moment let's again just see this pictorially. And the omega p2, which was previously the dominant pole, meaning which was deciding the bandwidth previously, now it become a non-dominant pole. And because of this shift, basically the unity frequency changes, and because of that change in the unity frequency, the phase margin ultimately will improve, or that condition on the CL, which was previously very much big, which was, if we want to recall, we have this much condition on the CL. The CL should be greater than GM1 times GM6 times parallel combination of RO2 and RO4 whole square times CGS6. So that condition was too much big on the CL, and that is not a practical design. You can put on the simulation, but you cannot fabricate that design, or you cannot test that on a real silicon. So that was the main motivation of adding a compensation capacitor and seeing the Miller effect. So if we just start today's lecture, we reach this point that, okay, the Cm for us is GM6 RO6 in parallel with RO7 times Cc. So now this large Miller capacitance causes omega p1 to become a dramatically lower, that it becomes a dominant pole, because something going on to the left hand side, it's going to become a dominant pole. It's going to decide the bandwidth. So dominant pole is the one which decides the bandwidth for us. So if we want to write the expression of omega p1, now omega p1 is going to be at this node, is pointing up here, which where previously the CGS6 was. So here, is there any question? Okay. So at this node where I'm pointing here, this is now the omega p1 node. Previously there was no CC, so only we were taking the effect of CGS6 multiplied by RO2 in parallel with RO4. But now what's going to happen, here we are going to see a compensation capacitors with a Miller effect, Cm. At this node, ultimately what we are going to observe, we are going to observe a Cm with grounded, okay? And what's the impedance seen here is the same RO2 in parallel with RO4. If you want to be accurate, you can say, okay, Cm plus CGS6, but the CGS6 value is going to be very much small as compared to the Cm. So we can approximately write this relation of omega p1 as RO2 in parallel with RO4 times Cm, okay? So we can just place the value of Cm now, which we computed above the approximate relation. So the omega p1 location comes out to be RO2 in parallel with RO4 times GM6 times RO6 in parallel with RO7 times Cc. And everything is in the denominator. So that is the expression we got. And by just seeing the expression, we can say, okay, it's going to be something which is going to be a smaller value. Why? Because we have multiplication factor or the product of two R naughts. So there is one RO2 in parallel with RO4 and one RO6 in parallel with RO7. and they are also multiplied by CC, which is the compensation capacitor, and that's we are inserting. It's not something parasitic, it's not in the femtofarad range, it's going to be most likely in the picofarad range, which we as a designer are going to insert based on our requirement and the area consideration. So if we just want to see the circuit again, we have the net circuit as following. We have an input, differential input, VID, we have an input impedance, the capacitive one, CGS1/2. We have a voltage controlled current source, GM1, controlled by this V1 potential at this capacitor, in parallel with RO2 and RO4, in parallel with CGS6. Now there is a connection between these 2 points, which is in the form of CC. Then we have another voltage controlled current source, GM6 times V2. V2 is the potential across the CGS6. And then we have a parallel combination of RO6 and RO7, and then we have the final capacitive load, and this is our final V out. So now we need to see, okay, we see that, or we observe, or we can see, okay, omega P1 shifted on the left-hand side and become the dominant pole, but what happens to omega P2? Because until we decide something about omega P2, we cannot like conclude that, okay, omega P1 is the dominant frequency. So we need to also see the behavior of omega P2, and if when we are going to do that thing, we will see actually the omega P2 becomes more right on the omega axis, meaning instead of remaining at its old place of omega P2, rather it shifted on towards the right side. Okay, so it starts reducing even on our implementation. How? We need to see by the addition of compensation capacitor.
So, Assalamualaikum sir, one question.
जी.
ये इसके बाद पूछ लूं सर, जिससे आप बेहतर समझे.
बता दें अभी.
सर लास्ट डायग्राम काइंडली आप ओपन करते हैं जो अभी आपने पेज शिफ्ट किया बैक साइड पे.
बेसिकली वो यहाँ भी ड्रॉ हुई है. This is the same diagram here.
सर आपने जो सीएम की लोकेशन बताई थी, could you repeat that? सीएम कहाँ लोकेटेड है?
So basically, if you remember the Miller thing, all right, let me just draw a little bit here up. If you remember the Miller, if you have something in between junction A and junction B, okay? Or more simplified version, I can draw here like this one. This is the CC, right? So its gain is A1, its gain is A2. Okay? ये हमारे पास overall differential amplifier है. So now when I'm going to see the Miller effect, I'm going to have one, if I do the, so this is something, then I will just draw there too, but let's just clarify. So this is A1, this one is A2. So if I want to separate this CC with the help of a Miller effect, we can just draw like this. A1 at this point, at the input node and the output, between the output and input node of A1 and A2, so there is something CM. Okay. Then there is going to be A2. इसको अगर आप CM1 कहना चाहें, yeah, let's keep the same name which we are keeping, and here there is CM out. These are going to be the CMs. Now this CM, इसकी value क्या होगी? The CM is going to be 1 plus A2 times CC. और इसकी value क्या होगी? 1 plus 1 over A2 times CC. So that's going to be miniaturized value, smaller value. So not much concern for us, क्योंकि इसके साथ आपके पास CL लगा हुआ है. यहाँ it's becoming a dominant value. यहाँ आपके पास CGS6 भी है. So you can say in parallel with CGS6. ठीक है ली? So the CM is going to be in parallel with CGS6 for us.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So that's why when we say CM plus CGS6, so we can say it's equivalent to CM because CGS6 की value काफी छोटी है. So coming back here, that assume now we want to prove something in a sense that omega P2 is becoming a further right on the omega axis. So we just assume again initially, which we also observed from the relation, that omega P1 forms a dominant pole. Okay, we are not 100% sure still, we don't know the omega p2 value, but we can say, okay, let's do a logical assumption by seeing the expression that omega p1 is a dominant pole. So we do this assumption, and again we can approximate cc as a short. Why we are approximating cc as a short when calculating omega 2? That is a little bit approximation which we are doing. We will do the I will just share the accurate expression too, but at this moment let's observe this thing for higher frequencies. Basically, what's going to happen? Ultimately the cc effect is going to come, or the cc is going to be somehow 1 over 2 pi something cc f. So at higher frequency, we can say this is going to be very much small value. This factor is going to be very much small at higher frequency. If we just don't divide that in the Miller caps, we just assume that in the higher frequency, the cc is going to act as a short. I will just come back to the point why we are doing this thing. But at this moment, if we assume at higher frequency, the cc is going to be a short, what's going to happen here? We're going to have something, just the connection between these 2 points. For example, don't assume there is anything here, just for omega p2 calculation. Okay, if we just do this assumption for omega p2 calculation, what's going to be the impedance at this node now? हम इस node को अगर short कर दें, assumingly we are shorting this node, we are ignoring the cc for a higher frequencies, what will be the impedance seen as this node? Let me just draw it, and so that's an important point we need to be aware. Take this page as well. So the thing is that what I am pointing out, so what we are doing something. I'm just drawing the half circuit so we can easily jump. No, they are not anymore disconnected, they are connected with each other. Okay? There is a connection between these 2 points. So what will be the impedance seen at this point? इस point पे impedance क्या होगी? अगर मैं resistance की बात करूं R, क्योंकि पोल के लिए जी अली anybody want to tell?
Question नहीं था सर, hand load नहीं किया था, sorry.
So anybody want to say what will be the resistance at this point if I short these 2 points? So in reality, if we see, it's going to be something RO2, because this is impedance parallel here, RO2 in parallel with RO4, in parallel with, you want to say, RO6, RO7. But since we are shorting these 2 points, and if we just go back to the transistor model, what we are doing basically, we are doing this, drain is getting shorted to gate. And that's bringing this, we are basically, this was, if we just remember, this was M6. So in parallel with 1 over GM6. So the overall impedance we can approximate RO in parallel with the 1 over GM6 is going to be 1 over GM6. So the impedance seen at this point is going to be 1 over GM6. Let me just also bring up the circuit and so that you can easily observe from that point. What we are doing, we are basically, this was M6 basically for us. And we are doing this thing, we are shorting this point. We are shorting these 2 nodes. Source is connected with drain. So what will be the impedance of this M6? It's going to be 1 over GM6. And 1 over GM6 in parallel with any RO is going to be equivalent or approximate to 1 over GM6. So if you just come back, the R Thevenin or the overall impedance seen at this node is going to be now 1 over GM6. Okay, so it's an assumption, it's an approximation or a logical guess. So it's going to be correct for this part. So now 1 over GM6 is going to be multiplied by some capacitance to form the omega P2. What are those capacitances? One capacitance is CL. Since we shorted this node, the other capacitance is going to be CGS6. Both of them are in parallel, so they will add up together. So the net omega P2 is going to be 1 over GM6 times CGS6 plus CL. Or we can write net expression of omega P2 is going to be GM6 divided by CGS6 plus CL. Okay, so now we can see the omega P2 expression also changed as compared to the initial calculation where there was no compensation capacitor. Okay, but we did one logical reasoning that CC value was assumed to be short at omega 2, which was assumed to be high frequency. Why we took it as a high frequency? Because we did that assumption that omega P1 is a dominant pole, so omega P2 is a non-dominant pole. This means it's lying at a higher frequency. Since it's lying at a higher frequency, 1 over 2 pi FCC is going to be near to 0, or when something is near to 0, we can take it as a short value. So for the above expression, this value has to hold, that CC should be greater than or should be very much greater than CGS6. If this condition is not holding, we cannot do the all above expression or all above calculation. If you just want to have an accurate expression, the accurate expression is written here. The accurate expression involves the CC, but if you just put in the above expression, if I just wanted to say it 1, if we assume that CC is very much bigger than CGS6, the above expression will also lead to the same thing, GM6 times CGS6 plus CL. Okay. So this point is clear to everyone that omega P2 also shift more towards right hand side as compared to without compensation part, and that's going to help us in the phase margin. Based on the condition, the CC, the compensation capacitor, which we as a designer are placing, is very much bigger than CGS6, which was a parasitic capacitance. So CGS6 normally is going to be in the femtofarad range. CC, anything in the picofarad range, is going to fulfill this condition. So as a designer, if we place anything in the picofarad range, then we can ensure that omega P2 is going to be more right on the omega axis, and the expression will be approximately equal to GM6 times CGS6 plus CL. As a designer, we don't want accurate expression. Accurate expression is going to be utilized by the simulator, if it's LG Spice, if it's a NetSpice or Cadence or Synopsys, but we are concerned about seeing a little bit approximation, and that approximation can be provided by this expression which is written here for the omega P2. और हम इसको देख सकते हैं कि now omega P2 is what? GM6 times CL, for example. So GM6 क्या है? It's going to be a smaller value. CL क्या है? Is going to be a very much big value. So ultimately, the overall expression is going to be more towards on the right hand side. ठीक है? The overall expression होगा, that will be shifted more towards the right hand side as compared to the previous expression. हम अभी देख भी लेते हैं how it's, and this is normally called as a pole splitting, जो हम लोगों ने frequency compensation में देखा भी था. So in this page, the orange one is the original plot. So the orange color is the without compensation, without CC, let's say, and the red one is with compensation, with CC. Okay. So if we want to observe it, first let's observe the original one. That original orange curve was here, The omega P2 was coming here because the omega P2 was the dominant pole that was deciding bandwidth, and its relation was RO6 in parallel with RO7 times CL. Then after some time, we are going to have the second pole. The second pole was omega P1, which was RO2 in parallel with RO4 times CGS6. So that was the expression when there was no compensation capacitor. When there was no compensation capacitor, the orange one. Now, after adding the compensation capacitor, what happened dramatically, the omega P1 now shifted more towards the left-hand side and become the dominant pole. Previously, it was non-dominant pole, and omega P2, which was previously a dominant pole, it shifted towards the right-hand side and become a non-dominant pole. So now the overall bandwidth reduced. As we can see, there was some price we have to pay, and that price is in the form of a bandwidth. So the price is in the form of a bandwidth because of the capacitor, and the first omega P1 is lying at RO2 in parallel with RO4 times GM6 times RO6 in parallel with RO7 times CC. And then what we are going to have omega P2. Omega P2 is on the right hand side GM6 time divided by CGS6 plus CL, जो हम लोगों ने अभी expression देखा है. ये clear है plot सबको कि how the pole splitting is happening because of the frequency compensation. This is something similar जो हम लोगों ने, if you recall 2 lectures back, we saw the frequency compensation and we saw that example where we were adding the capacitor and the pole was splitting. So one pole was becoming dominant and other poles were becoming non-dominant. Right? So what is the benefit of doing this thing? One thing we saw one loss, that okay, the bandwidth reduced, but in reality the phase margin should improve. Okay, and how the phase margin will improve? If we just see a little bit again, this updated curve with a compensation capacitor. So this is basically with CC. So with CC, omega P1 is the dominant pole deciding the bandwidth. Omega P2 is the parasitic pole, and for the phase margin, as you recall, we see the point of gain crossover frequency or unity frequency. So this is a gain crossover frequency. Or a unity gain frequency, meaning the frequency at which my gain is 0 dB in log scale or unity. Okay, so now we have to see the phase basically at this point omega naught. So in reality, what's going to happen, as this omega P2 is going to be far from omega naught, my phase is going to be improved. As omega P2 is near to omega naught, my phase margin is going to be bad. So that's what we all want, and that's what we all know, that omega P2 should be very much far from omega naught in order to have a good phase margin. Okay? Magnitude it's not affecting whether it's lying even here, but for the phase, we want omega P2 to be as much far as omega naught. But before moving forward, first let's find the value of this omega naught. हम लोगों ने अभी क्या किया था? We find the value of omega P1, we find the value of omega P2, and we know the value of K, but we don't know the value of omega naught. कि इसकी value है क्या? Because once we know this value of omega naught, then we can just put this omega P2 condition and find out like how we ensure this relation of omega P2 to be very much bigger than omega naught. So to find omega naught, we can approximate, basically this is an approximation that we can approximate is equal to K divided by 1 plus S by omega P1. Why we are only considering one pole? Since we are assuming or not and assuming anymore, we are saying that omega P1 is a dominant pole, and in the magnitude plot, the omega P2 is lying after the omega naught, so it's not going to affect that calculation. Okay? Since it's not going to affect the calculation for the omega naught, so we can just put the values GM1 times RO2 in parallel with RO4 times GM6 times RO6 in parallel with RO7, which was the value of gain we calculated in the last lecture, divided by 1 plus S times S divided by omega P1. So we just place down the approximate value of omega P1 for very much higher frequency, we can get rid of this one factor and we will be left with this relation. GM1, this is magnitude basically. GM1 times RO2 in parallel with RO4, GM6 times RO6 in parallel with RO7 divided by S divided by RO2 in parallel with RO4 times GM6 times RO6 in parallel with RO7 times CC. So we cancel the terms which can be cancelled easily in the numerator and denominator and replace this S with omega naught. Why? Since we are measuring the value at a, this is basically a magnitude 1. So this is a 1 value. Okay. So it's a unity gain frequency. So the frequency is going to be omega naught. So we can safely replace S with omega naught and we end up in a relation which is omega naught is equal to GM1 by CC. So we also found the expression of omega naught which is depending upon the first transistor which was seen by the input GM1 or GM2. So we can write GM1 over GM2 divided by the CC which was the compensation capacitor. Okay. So omega naught unity gain frequency is equal to GM1 divided by CC. ये क्लियर है? ओमेगा नॉट को और क्या कहते हैं हम लोग? We normally call omega naught also as omega naught is same thing as gain bandwidth product. Okay. So omega naught is basically a maximum bandwidth achieved at unity gain. So as we will increase the gain, our bandwidth will go down. But we found the expression of omega naught, but our main concern was what? We need to make sure omega P2 should be very much bigger than omega naught for a good phase margin, which was the main intuition of putting the compensation capacitor. So even if we don't achieve this thing, we have to do something more. But that's why first we need to check, are we meeting the requirement of omega P2 very much greater than omega naught? Ji Ali.
So you just said that omega naught is the bandwidth. Could you repeat that statement?
Okay. What I said that omega naught is equal to gain bandwidth product. Okay? Or we can say omega naught equal to maximum bandwidth of operational amplifier. Why? Because at this point the gain is 1. Okay? So at this point my gain is 1. As I increase the gain, what's going to happen? My bandwidth, closed loop bandwidth is going to reduce. So for example, let's make another one. अब आपके पास ये 0 dB पे ये omega naught था. If I take any other gain which is higher than 0 dB, let's say I take a gain of 10, जो हम लोगों ने homework में भी किया था, gain of 10. Gain of 10 क्या होगा? 20 dB. For example, this is a 20 dB point. If I just bring it here. So now for this 20 dB, this is not omega naught, but this is omega at 20 dB. But what should be the gain bandwidth, which is equal to omega naught times 1, should remain the same value as gain bandwidth product as 20 dB. Omega at 20 dB times जो भी 20 dB का factor होगा 10. So they both should remain equal. So that's why safely I can say omega naught is a gain bandwidth product. or it's a maximum bandwidth of an amplifier at a unity frequency, at a unity gain. ये point clear है?
Yes, sir.
So we reach this point, okay, we want omega P2 should to be very much bigger than omega naught for a good phase margin. So for that, we just need to again place the values and observe this. So we reach this point. This is the plot omega P1, omega naught, omega P2. We know values of everything here. Omega P1 is known to us, omega naught, omega P2, and also K. So we want this condition omega P2 to be very much bigger than omega naught. So let's just replace omega P2 and omega naught with their values, which we calculated. So omega P2 is GM6 divided by CGS6 plus CL, and omega 1 and omega naught is GM1 by CC, which comes out, if we just do the left and right hand side correctness, we reach to the conclusion CC should be greater than GM1 by GM6 times CGS6 plus CL. Or if we just want an approximation for the above, that CC should be very much bigger than CGS6, assuming that GM1 is somehow equal to GM6. अगर हम ये थोड़ा सा assume कर लें just for easy calculation as a startup, that अगर मेरे पास GM1 और GM6 बराबर हो, means they can cancel out, then CC should be very much bigger than CGS6. ठीक है, तो ये मेरे पास condition आ जाती है, या in general CC should be greater than CL. ठीक है, तो अब जब भी मेरे पास या CC होगा या CL वैल्यू कैलकुलेट कर, क्योंकि these both things are provided, or when I'm a designer I will just place these values, they are not parasitic values, so I have to place these capacitors CL and CC. तो जो मैंने डिजाइन करना होगा, I have to find those values through one or through another value. तो मैं या तो CC की वैल्यू कहीं से लेके आऊंगा और then find CL accordingly, या मैं CL की वैल्यू कहीं से assume करूंगा and then calculate the CC value accordingly to ensure this specific phase margin एक मेरे पास अच्छा phase margin आ जाए. हम लोग next lecture में we will put some numbers and we'll do a two-stage amplifier design by putting some specifications के ये phase margin होना चाहिए, इतना gain होना चाहिए, how we are going to proceed with design. Right? Till now we put some consideration and we did an approximate design, but we missed one important thing which we also need to tackle now. क्योंकि हम लोगों ने approximation की थी, so in approximation we missed a lot of points. So one point is that we missed a zero. Why we missed a zero? Because when we added a compensation capacitor at this point, whenever a compensation capacitor CC is added, let me just open another point, not this one. Yeah, whenever we add a compensation capacitor CC here, what's going to happen? This CC is going to form basically positive or a right hand zero with a M6 also. Because of the CGS6, a zero is going to be formed with the M6 transistor or the 1/GM6 one. And how we can just calculate that thing, if you just like do the overall calculation as a two-port model for this network, you can just reach to that calculation for the exact expression. Since we did some approximation, we assumed this point as a short and we just neglected that effect for easy calculation. But if we do the accurate calculation, we will come to the conclusion that we also have a zero lying at this point. And that zero is going to be compensated in the overall expression as K times 1 plus S by omega C divided by 1 plus S over omega P1. And now we are also bringing the effect of second pole 1 plus S by omega P2. Since it's the overall expression, not only talking about the magnitude, so we need to also bring that 0. So if we're just for our relaxation, we also want to do a complete analysis with a 0. So what's going to happen? Just draw the circuit again. We reach to this point that K is known to us, omega P1 is known to us, which we did previously. Omega P2 is also known to us. This is the exact expression, and this is an approximate expression, assumingly the CC is greater than CGS6. And if we just find out the omega value of omega Z, it comes out to be minus GM6 by CC. And that's something which we need to give significant attention, that we have an omega Z, we have a 0, which is having a negative value, and that negative value is equal to GM6 by CC. Okay, we didn't do the calculation here, but if you want, I can just share some calculation, because that's not like related much to us, but I can just share those calculation. But the thing which is important for us, the omega Z is going to be a right hand 0. So a right hand plane 0 will basically act in magnitude same as a normal 0 or a left hand 0, but in terms of phase, it will act same as a pole. So it will act same as a left hand pole, and because of this thing, it will cause stability issues, meaning a right hand 0 will have the same phase of minus 90 degree as our left hand pole. So it will effect will hurt us. In reality, when we say 0, it helps in improving the gain bandwidth, or it helps in improving the phase margin. But when I'm talking about the right hand plane 0, it's going to have a negative effect for the phase, and it will have the same effect as a magnitude. So if you want, we can just also a little bit see how it's going to affect us. So if you just want that, for example, if just have a right hand plane 0, and this is the omega Z frequency. So what's going to happen here is the magnitude response. The magnitude response is going to be the same. So it's going to reach to this point, and it's going to have a plus 20 dB. But for the phase response, what's going to happen? It will reach this 10 times, and it will have. So for the right hand one, this is omega. So this response is same as left hand pole. Okay, so left hand plane. And that's a disaster thing for us. Because of adding of that compensation capacitor, we're also having a 0, which is becoming dominant now. And that dominant 0 is basically affecting the stability issues for our design. Okay, so we have to be careful for that 0 factor too. How we can be careful? Basically, by adding a compensation resistor here. If we add a compensation resistor here, what we are going to do, ultimately, we will nullify the effect of this omega Z. किस तरह उसका effect nullify कर सकते हैं? If we add a resistor at the above point, the omega 0 point is going to be minus GM6 by CC times 1 over 1 minus GM6 times RC. Okay, and RC is the compensation resistor in series with the capacitor. So if you place this RC equal to 1 over GM6, we can get rid of omega 0 effect. So अगर मैं RC की value 1 over GM6 के बराबर कर दूं, what's going to happen? Omega Z या जो 0 का effect था totally खत्म हो जाएगा. Or on a safer side, if I make RC bigger than 1 over GM6, I can get rid of the negative effect of omega Z. So if I make RC is equal to 1 over GM6, I can mitigate, or I can cancel the 0. और अगर RC is greater than 1 over GM6, any value greater than 1 over GM6, I can nullify its effect. मैं जीरो को तो खत्म नहीं कर रहा, लेकिन उसके इफेक्ट को खत्म कर रहा हूँ. जीरो अभी भी प्लेस इन रहेगा, लेकिन उसका इफेक्ट खत्म हो जाएगा. किस तरह? If I am making anything RC which is bigger than GM6, this product is going to be negative, 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 positive. So omega zero जो right hand side का pole, right hand side का zero था, that becomes the left hand side zero. और अगर वो left hand side का zero बन जाएगा, it's not going to hurt me. So either I can totally cancel its effect by making it zero, or I can make it a positive side zero to assist in my design. So whatever as a designer you want, you can do that thing, but better way is to do this factor. Why? क्योंकि जो भी कोई PVT variations होंगी, that can make this value less than 1 over GM6, and if this value become less than 1 over GM6, it can hurt our design. As a designer, I should play in this condition all the time. So for us, we're mainly interested in this two-stage basic workhorse, and we can use this two-stage basic workhorse for our design, and we can just put these design equations and we can figure it out how we can make our design based on our specification which are provided to us. So in the next lecture, we are going to put some numbers and we're going to observe this thing, but just to have the same point from where we started on the two-stage amplifier. So this is a two-stage amplifier. Now we have an RC and we have a CC. The purpose of compensation capacitor was to make the system reasonable, practical. Otherwise, the value of CL was going too much high. But after adding the CC, the system was having less phase margin because of this addition of CC, and zero was created. So in order to get rid of that zero issue, we were adding an RC, and we have seen how we can include the value, or how we can have a value of RC greater than 1 over GM6 to ensure a stable and a reasonable design. Okay? If we want to see a two-port model is drawn here, where we have a CC and a RC in series to each other. Any concerns related to this, what we have covered? Ji. Is there any question from today's topic? So,
sir, not about today's topic. One question regarding the course generally. Can I ask it?
Ji.
Sir, in regard to the complex engineering problem, which you said would be given to us, sir, could you kindly update us as per what is the policy going to be about it?
The complex engineering problem is going to be on the two-stage amplifier, basically. It's going to be based on the simulation, which I'm going to do the next lecture. So next lecture, what the plan is, we are going to put some specifications and we are going to do some simulation based on that. ठीक है, जो हम लोगों ने यही equations use की हैं, अब जितनी हमने derive की हैं, we are going to use those equations and we are going to do simulation to meet those requirements. तो आपका जो CPE होगा वो भी similar ही होगा. तो complex engineering CEP होगा rather, complex engineering problem, it will be similar. So you will have a little bit different specifications. You will use these equations. You are going to find out the design कि आपने CL की value क्या रखनी है, CC की क्या रखनी है, transistor की width, length क्या रखनी है, and then you are going to place in the LT spice, and then you will just simulate that one. So we will do a demo sort of stuff for a different numbers in the next lecture, and you have to repeat that thing for different specifications.
And say like next lecture means on Wednesday, right?
Next lecture means on Wednesday, yes.
And lastly, sir, what would be the deadline for this approximately? 10th May, I guess.
I guess we can discuss it, but might be we can extend it. Like we can just give the deadline for the CPE by 20th May.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so
thank you so much, sir.
लेकिन जो क्योंकि exam I guess will be on 10th May, we will just share the information soon. But like the CPE will have a deadline by 20th May, the last date for somehow the submission. तो हम लोग उसकी deadline 20th May तक. ठीक है. So if there are no other questions, I guess we can finish today's session, and you can just do your quiz, the quiz 5B. That will be already uploaded on LMS. So you can access it. If you are not able to access it, it will be available in 1 or 2 minutes. Otherwise, it should be available by this time. So once you are done, just make sure to upload the solution by 3:45 p.m. on LMS. So don't wait for the last moment. Just upload as early as you are done, so you don't have to worry with some internet issues or delays. We'll meet on Wednesday. Thank you.